Hello, welcome to the National League Rugby Review Show here from Woodlands, the home of Fylde RFC. Now the final 2 months of the season are upon us and arguably the running starts here, where promotion dreams and relegation fears become more significant. So let's get round 21 highlights underway right here in National 2 North, where second place Fylde host league leaders Sedgley Park. The table toppers arrived at Woodlands having won all 19 of their games this term. Scott Barrow's side hadn't tasted a league defeat for almost a full calendar year and began the weekend 6 points clear of the summit with a game in hand. The Tigers extended their advantage last week after Fylde lost away to Tynedale. 2 defeats in February had dented the home side's aspirations, but with a first win over Sedge since December 2019 keep the title race alive. And it will be the table toppers Sedgley Park to get us underway here at a packed out Woodlands. Which way will this game go in National 2 North? Well, after some steely defence from Sedgley Park, it's their turn to apply some pressure on Fylde. They've hardly seen the ball have Scott Barrow's side, but here's Steve Collins. Collins into Crow. Crow looks to step inside, and he's over for Sedgley Park. And it's simple extras for Steve Collins, 7-0 to Sedge. Can Sedge now punish some indiscipline from Fylde? A silly penalty, frustrating penalty for the hosts to give away. It's been a really polished first half performances from Sedge, and they're rumbling forward. Now we know how good they are in these situations, and it's Danny Mayer who is over. This is more possession and territory for Fylde, but this is by far and away the closest they've come to breaking down the Sedge wall. And with Sedge scrum half Sam Stemmelzek in the sin bin as well. Can they strike before half-time? And it's David Fairbrother looking to power through. It's Fairbrother, and he is over. Greg Smith with an important kick here for Fylde, and he gets it 12-7 at the interval. Here's Potts now looking to change the point of attack for Fylde. We saw them in a similar position punish Sedge before half-time. Can they do the same now with Rawlins into Gregory? Gregory out wide to Grimes. Grimes looking to get over the line. Grimes, perfect start to the second half of Fylde. Riley now for Sedge, looking for Collins, but it's Rawlins under pressure, and Connor Wilkinson's going to kick it through, and Connor Wilkinson's going to score, and Woodlands goes wild. Fylde have turned it around. Well, it's some atmosphere here at Woodlands as Greg Smith adds the extras. Sedge looking to hit back immediately after that Fylde score, and here's Crow into Matt Riley. Riley with a well-timed pass to Bournville. George Bournville looking to go alone here rather than use the options out wide. He's halted by 3 Fylde defenders, but he looks like he's gone over the line, and what a response that is. Collins with a tricky looking conversion to level things up, and we are all square at Woodlands after the hour. How big could this kick be in the context of Sedge's season? Collins, and it's just short, and Fylde look to immediately play it out and boot it upfield. It's still 19 all here at Woodlands. Now it's Fylde's turn from halfway from the tee. Greg Smith, where's it going? And it looks like it's just short, and we're still all square. Smith again. Looks like he's got the accuracy. Has it got the distance? No, it hasn't. And that is that at Woodlands.
We're really pleased with the performance. You know, there was a lot of guts and determination in today. The fight right to the end. You know, we wanted to carry on at the end. They obviously didn't. But no, it was, you know, coming against Sedge, they are a good side. And our lads were clearly up for it. There was just a few mistakes here and there, which gave them opportunities in the first half. But you know, that second half and sort of the desire and the heart in the lads was unbelievable. We're kind of saying that, you know, it's up to them, but we're not going to let them have it easily. You know, we're going to push them right to the end. We just need to keep performing. You know, every week we come out and we want to win, and that's not going to change for these last few games.
Hard fought effort from our lads. We've defended for long periods in the first half. We've thwarted a few driving line out to theirs on our line, and then we've given silly penalties away and kept them on our line. So that score just before half time probably took a little bit of wind out of us. Just kept them in it, and then that gave them a leg up in the game. And then second half we played a couple of plays in our half which we wouldn't normally do. I don't know. We're that desperate to win. We want to do it. We've gone off script a little bit, but you know, pressure does that to people. We'll learn from it. I think we gave too many penalties away again second half. When we were on the front foot, we looked dangerous, but yeah, we didn't have enough of that pressure in the second half. I think if we were at the other end of the field, we'd have probably had to go with it. But you know, lads have put a hell of a shift in, and we're getting a penalty 35 metres out. I know Greg Smith can kick from a good range. He's just short on a couple from 53, 54 metres out. We start playing there and we give the ball up. There's a good chance, you know, after the errors we've already pulled up, there's a good chance of just giving a daft penalty away or giving the ball back, and you know we couldn't afford to do it. You know, Fylde needs to win it. Fylde needed to win it. We managed to draw. Not our best performance, but you know we'll take it, and we'll stay 6 points ahead with a few games coming up.
So many National League clubs do so much great work in the community, and Fylde is very much one of them. We sat down to Bill Beaumont, who's the honorary president of the Fylde Foundation, to chat about the work they are doing in the local area.
The North have always produced lots of players, and I was chatting to a South African the other day. So, what club did you play for? I said, well, I play for Fylde. He said, I haven't heard of them. I said, well, it's a sort of small club in the northwest of England, but sort of in our time we produced a lot of rugby players. In this area, Lancashire, have produced more England captains at any sport in the country. So I think that says a lot for this the northwest. And I think we're keen to the club to advance. We're keen for the game of rugby to get stronger in this area, and Lancashire are at the forefront of that. Well, the work is unbelievable. That it was set up by a club member here, and a guy called David Craven took it on, and Phil Mills, who unfortunately had to retire from playing, that sort of he's taken over as the manager. And what they do, they go into schools, they go into clubs, and they sort of trying to get young people to play the game. They have camps down here, they have sort of food kitchens, you name it. They're very much a part of the community. Because I think what they try and do is make this place here, this rugby club, part of the community of this area, where anybody, it doesn't matter if you've got a thin wallet or a thick wallet, doesn't matter what your social background is, you are welcome at any rugby club. And that, to me, is all about the game. I've just been in the clubhouse now. There are probably 3 guys there that I haven't seen for probably 3 or 4 years, but we played with each other going back probably 30, 40 years ago. Yeah, you immediately, through the game of rugby, you've got a common sort of, you've got a bond, you know, with them. And to me, long may it continue. And I think rugby is a great example of bringing community together. Plaudits should go to the people who run it and the vision that they've got, you know, to go into schools that have never played rugby at all, you know, sort of to go in there and establish the game of rugby. We know what the benefits of rugby are, but there's thousands of girls and boys who don't understand it, they don't get it. So in a small way, the Fylde community can go out into schools, the high school just down the road here, to the junior schools, the infants, get them playing with the ball. And also, one of the big things they've done here, wheelchair rugby. Yeah. Wheelchair rugby is sort of really important for us all.
We'll head back to National 2 North in a little while, but let's start the wrap-up of the rest of the action in National 1. And we begin with Darlington Modern Park, who picked up 3 straight wins as they hosted Plymouth Albion in the North East.
Those 3 victories over Hull, Birmingham, Moseley and Leeds Tykes have created a cushion for Darlington Modern Park between themselves and the relegation places, and they were looking to continue on an upward trajectory. They got off to a fine start against Plymouth Albion with Morgan Passman, Max Frayne and Matt Minogue all going over. But the visitors clicked into gear as a penalty try and scores from Jamie Salter and Kyle Spear drew them level in a physical first half. However, after the interval, DMP did enough both in attack and defence as Minogue and Will Jones crossed to secure a 4th win on the bounce for Gary Law's men. Taunton Titans are one of the teams DMP are climbing away from, and after a positive run of decent form, Tony Yapp's side travelled to Bishop Stortford. However, the Somerset outfit couldn't land a blow in the first half as another double for Francis Moore and scores from Will Rogers and Chris Smith helped the hosts into a 20-0 lead. The afternoon got even tougher for Taunton when Will Vaughan was sent off, but Brian and Coob did touch down for the visitors. But Stortford completed the job in the final 10 minutes with Jake Morris and Charlie Parkhouse going over. Our next 2 games centre around the fortunes of Hull as the Yorkshire outfit came into their clash with Sale FC knowing their relegation could be confirmed. They needed to match Chinnor's result to avoid having their fate sealed this weekend, and Mike Amanga's men started like a team that meant business. Lawrence Cohen and Dual Truman scored tries in a 4-minute window to give Hull a 12-0 lead, but a yellow card to Cohen opened the door for Sale to hit back. Ollie Longmore immediately profited, but in the second half the title challengers dominated the scoreboard as a brace from Josh Brown saw them complete the turnaround. Despite Hull's endeavour, they were only able to collect a losing bonus point, meaning all eyes were on Chinnor's meeting with Cinderford. After 3 straight defeats, Nick Easter's men started strongly as Josh Hodson and Max Heathman went over, but old foes Cinderford hit back to lead 22-12 at the break, with Mike Austin grabbing a third for the visitors. However, Chinnor responded well as Hodson and Reece Marshall crossed before the hour, and despite waves of pressure from Cinderford, the Black and White saw out a crucial victory, while the result effectively confirmed Hull's relegation.
No, we needed to win this one. We had a few bodies back. Sadly, we're probably going to miss another load as well. It just seems to, keep coming at this stage of the season. But that's another thing. That's something for us to deal with and adapt to. But a big 5 points. 3 losses on the bounce, and there was character in some of them, and we managed to get a bonus point in some. But we needed to get a win under our belts, and to get the bonus point was good as well.
Birmingham Moseley are another side embroiled in this battle to beat the drop, and after being involved in some closely fought matches in recent weeks, this was yet another tight encounter against Sedgley Park. Once again, Adam Balding's men made an encouraging start as Akil Smith and Ryan Roach dotted down to give them a 12-7 lead at the break. The hosts, who are looking to return to winning ways, responded through Charles Piper and Matt Bolwell to hold a 9-point advantage. Jack English did get a third score for Moseley to set up a tense final 13 minutes, but the visitors weren't able to come out on the right side of another narrow scoreline. Leeds Tykes are currently one of the teams in the relegation places, and in round 21 they were faced with the daunting task of travelling to league leaders Rams. However, the Yorkshire club were only 19-10 behind on 30 minutes. The scores from Kieran Davis and Tom Williams came either side of 3 Rams tries. The table toppers then opened up more of an advantage thanks to a brace from winger Jack Rossiter. John Okafor and Ty Maxwell Whiteley did secure the bonus point for Leeds in the second period, but tries from James McRae, Rossiter and Zach Clow helped Rams eventually see off the Tykes. A similar pre-match narrative applied to Isha's clash with Cambridge, with the home side in the relegation scrap while the visitors still have eyes for the title. Despite their differing league positions, Isha shaded proceedings in the opening quarter, but 5 minutes before the break, the Blood and Sand began to unleash their quality. Kwaku Aziedu bagged a hat-trick. Steph James, Jake McLeod and Ben Brownlee also chipped in as Cambridge moved into a 42-10 lead. Fergus Donnelly did claim Isha's second try of the afternoon, but further scores from George Braytag-Norris and Matt Williams sealed another bonus point success for Richie Williams' men. It was once again another entertaining weekend in the third tier, and as each round passes by, the stakes are beginning to rise at both ends of the table. Rams and Cambridge both collected maximums, meaning the gap between the top 2 sides stays at 7 points, while Sale are now 9 points adrift following their win at Hull. With 3 teams currently scheduled to be going down, it means that in that eventuality, Hull have been relegated from National 1, while vital wins for Chinnor and Darlington Modern Park have seen them move away from danger.
Back into National 2 North now, and we head to Clifton Lane, where Rotherham Titans entertain Sheffield. We start in Rotherham, where the Titans were looking for their second win under boss Gary Pearce. The hosts got stuck into the game early on and had a 12-0 lead to protect after 20 minutes. Elliot Fisher, who was essential in his side's performance last week, helped haul Sheffield back into the game to make it 21-19. But a try from Callum Bustin and 12 points from Lloyd Hayes was enough for a Rotherham win as they completed the league double over the Steel City outfit. Next up, our focus is Blaydon, and they face Sheffield Tigers as they look to keep their hopes of pulling off a remarkable escape from relegation alive. However, they left their game plan on the bus and found themselves 21-0 down after 36 minutes. But Blaydon roared back in the second half to take the game to Sheffield Tigers, and Jake Smith was part of a comeback that allowed the North East side to collect 2 bonus points. Sam Stewart's men are not giving up the fight just yet. Next we see 4th versus 3rd as Hull Ionians hosted Otley at Brantington Park. It was the away side that started the brighter, building a 13-0 lead, but Hull Ionians responded to hold a 6-point advantage at the break. Sam Hodge and Ed Croston had gone over for the visitors, but Otley's Sam Waddington was then sent off on the hour. Hollyonians moved back ahead, but Otley kept fighting to lead by 1 point on 71 minutes. But in the end, Cameron Burnhill's score and the boot of Lewis Minikin sealed the win. Our attention now shifts from the top to the relegation battle. Harrogate had won their last 2 home games ahead of the visit of Chester, and they held a 10-6 lead at half-time after the away side was shown 2 early yellow cards. Liam Reeve and Rory McNabe then traded penalties, but Chester had George Baxter sent off on 68 minutes. The visitors stayed strong though and managed to cut the lead to 18-17 when Ben Ivory crossed, but a late penalty from Tom Steen sealed a 3rd home win on the bounce for Harrogate and keeps their survival hopes alive. Wharfdale have faced the division's top 2 in recent weeks, and there was no respite in round 21 when they welcomed an informed Huddersfield to the Avenue. However, the hosts were emphatic in the first 40, stretching out to what seemed an unassailable 22-point lead thanks to Oscar Canny at the double. They say you shouldn't mess with family, and Huddersfield proved that was true, as they hit back with tries from both Kean and Finlay Stewart to keep the comeback alive. However, a score from Henry McNabe kept Wharfdale in front, and ultimately was enough for the win. February was a positive month for Preston. The Hoppers picked up 8 points in their 3 games, and after Harrogate defeated Chester, they were looking to build on last month's upturn in fortunes. Tynedale started poorly, and the Hoppers had the bonus point in the bag by half-time, with Oliver Trippier wrapping it up. The North East side, who had beaten second-place Fylde last week, did respond with 3 tries in the final 6 minutes, but Preston's brilliant first-half display helped them to a second home win on the spin. What a cracking way to kick off March in National 2 North, with some hugely important results across round 21. After a brilliant advert for National League Rugby, the draw between Fylde and Sedgley Park means there are still 6 points separating the top 2, with the Tigers holding a game in hand. Bladen show a character to pick up 2 bonus points, leaving 21 points from safety, with 25 left on the table after Preston's home success against Tynedale. Harrogate's victory means they are still hunting down Hoppers, with the 2 sides going head-to-head this coming weekend. Over to National 2 East now, and after securing a potentially vital victory over Canterbury last time out, Rochford 100 were looking to build on that success but faced a tricky trip to an informed Bury St Edmunds.
Last week's home success for Rochford 100 kept their heads above water in this fascinating relegation battle, but travelling to Bury St Edmunds was never going to be easy. Jacob Ford's men had won 6 of the last 7 matches, and the Wolfpack showed exactly why they are one of the in-form sides in the division. The hosts scored 45 unanswered points before the hour, with Kieran Leeson running in 2 of their 6 tries. Rochford did offer up some response on 71 minutes, when replacement Charlie Owens found his way over. But Bury put the icing on another excellent afternoon when Michael Stanway crossed late on.
A gritty win for Bury St Edmunds here against Rochford. I felt in the first 20 minutes we were under the pump. We found a way to stick in the game, and then we came through and scored some pretty good tries in terms of running the length of the field with Tom Brown. I thought was excellent today for us. So yeah, no, it was a tough game throughout. You know, it was a pretty loose game at times and running rugby, dry conditions. So we had to make sure we had plenty of gas, if you like, in the engine. So we came through at the end, and yeah, it was a tough game. So looking forward to next week away to Canterbury.
Canterbury were looking to bounce back from last week's defeat to Rochford 100, but a confident-looking Barnes were the visitors to Kent. And the away side were clinical in the opening period, as they led 26-3 at the break, following scores from Jordan Suter, Paul O'Dell, James Bloxham and the prolific Alex March. 2 tries, including one from David Irvin, brought Canterbury back into the contest, but Cameron Lee's score, combined with a red card shown to Sam Sterling, condemned the City men to back-to-back losses. Dorking ended February on the front foot by returning to winning ways, and the Red and Whites kicked off March with a trip to Guernsey Raiders. However, the third-place side were 21-8 behind heading into the break, as Matt Creeber, Tom Teasdale and Kieran McGann all went over for the hosts. Dorking did respond though, as Jonathan Ellis and Toby McRae helped cut the deficit to 1 point. McGann and Ellis then swapped scores as the game entered its final quarter. But a penalty from Owen Thomas clinched the win for Guernsey, while Dorking suffered their 3rd defeat in the last 4 matches. With Dorking's promotion ambitions fading away, Worthing Raiders were aiming to stay in the title race when they visited Henley Hawks. A breathless first half at Dry Leas concluded with Worthing holding a slender advantage as a brace from Curtis Barnes helped the second place side into a 24-19 lead. Morgan McRae's second score of the afternoon made things all square in Oxfordshire, but the away side then took control of this end-to-end contest. National 2 East's most recent player of the week, Matt McLean, sealed the win for Worthing with a try and a penalty. But this was another great advert for rugby at levels 3 and 4. After 3 wins from the last 6 games, North Walsham may have had a spring in their step when they welcomed league leaders Blackheath to Norwich Road, and the hosts certainly played like a side that believes they can avoid relegation. Jamie Knight's men made life difficult for the table toppers, and they held a 15-0 lead in the first half, thanks to scores from George Luce and Dan Smith. Blackheath then dusted themselves down and reacted via Freddie Owen and Tom Stradwick to cut the deficit to just a single point. The home side didn't seem fazed by this, as Connor Dudley finished off a nice move to keep North Walsham ahead, but the promotion favourites were able to show their quality. Tries from Jake Hennessy and Chris Bell gave the visitors a 10-point lead, and despite North Walsham deserving something from this contest, they were unable to salvage 2 late bonus points. Sevenoaks are another club who are fighting to beat the drop, and they took the trip to Old Albanian in round 21. However, it proved to be a tough day at the office for Adam Bowman's men, as OAs had blasted their way to a 33-3 lead by half-time. The hosts ran in 5 tries, including one from Kemp Price, as a ruthless opening 40 saw them return to winning ways. Scott Sedgwick did get Sevenoaks on the board from close range, but Tom Wilton and Andrew Nurse wrapped up a comfortable afternoon for OAs. Westcliff travelled to Tunbridge Judeans, knowing their relegation would be confirmed if they failed to collect 2 points or more from the trip to Kent. But any faint hopes were immediately extinguished as TJ stormed to a 36-0 lead after just 27 minutes. Ryan Taylor-Dennehy starred as he scored a hat-trick and slotted 3 conversions as the home side ran riot. Despite Westcliff's best efforts throughout the course of a difficult season, their fate was sealed in the second period when Tom Kendrick, Duncan Tout and Hugo Watson got in on the act for TJs. 62 tries were scored on the opening weekend of March in National 2 East as the business end of the season got underway. There's no change at the top, with Blackheath maintaining their 12-point gap over Worthing, and the league leaders still have a game in hand to come. Dorking's loss against Guernsey means their promotion hopes are now hanging by a thread. At the bottom, Westcliff's relegation was confirmed after their defeat to TJ's, while the 3 clubs directly above them all failed to pick up points, meaning the fight to stay in the division continues to intensify.
And we finish in National 2 West, where Old Redcliffians were looking to carry their good form from February into March when they hosted Loughborough Students.
It was a lively affair in the West Country as Loughborough Students dug deep in order to outscore in-form Old Redcliffians. The home side would lead at the break thanks to the boot of Ashley Groves and a Chris Purcell score, although a flurry of activity in the second half would see both teams lead with everything to play for. Old Reds took a lead with less than 20 minutes left to play thanks to hooker Tom Ford, but a late double for Finlay Doyle and Charles Cadigan helped the Students to an impressive win. It was a dominant day at the office for Dings Crusaders as they dispatched Stourbridge 52 points to 12 at Shaftesbury Park. Dings' try-scoring bonus point was secured before the 20-minute mark, and by the end of the 80 minutes, the side would have scored 8 tries in this win. In response, Stourbridge would muster just the 2 tries as Chris Rovery, Solomon Taufer, Tom Anderson, Charles Taylor, Matt Smith, Matt Jones and Kieran Donoghue all dotted down against the bottom-place club. It was one-way traffic throughout as Lucktonians picked up this impressive win over Exeter University in Herefordshire. Bagging their try-scoring bonus point before the 20-minute mark, the West Midlanders ran rampant as scores from Charles Grimes, Robert Aikman, Josh Knott and Jack Small reigned in. Exeter would get their own bonus point by virtue of tries for Chris Ballard, Ed Volley, Conor Manzi and a penalty try. although the win for the home side was guaranteed in no short part thanks to 5 second-half tries for Luctonians. Newport continued their good form of late with this win over Hornets and Shropshire. The tone was set early on as Dan Brough raced over for the home side, the wing getting another before the break as Josh Kent and Charlie Gamble also scored. There would be a second-half resurgence for the visitors as a double for Chris Francis and a try for Matt Parker livened things up, although Matt Hubbart's late try for the home team was enough to see them home. Gareth Collins' Leicester Lions continued their dominant run of form at the top of National 2 West thanks to this win over Barnstaple. It didn't all go Leicester's way, the home side trailing twice in this fixture before ultimately winning the game outright. Brendan Darley and Connor Swan gave the visitors a narrow lead, which was washed out by Tom Williams' converted score before the half. Registering 4 unanswered tries in the second period, Leicester would stroll home to victory and maintain their 16-point lead at the top of the table. To claw themselves out of the relegation spots, Bournville stunned Redruth in the West Midlands in this frankly thrilling clash. It was a slow start for Bournville, who trailed early on as Sam Stevens and Harry Andrew Awartha crossed the try line for the visitors. There would be little looking back though as Tom Burrows, Rhys Williams, Sam Grimshaw and Jamie Harding registered tries to give the home team a commanding lead at the break. Pressing home their advantage in the second half, a late flurry from Redruth was not enough to give them a win as they went back to Cornwall with a try-scoring bonus point. Over 100 points were shared in this game as Clifton recovered from their narrow loss to Leicester Lions last weekend in fine fashion. The Bristol club registered a stunning 11 tries to better their hosts in the East Midlands as scrum half Blake Boylan scored a 16-minute hat-trick in the first period. Boylan would get a fourth in the second half as Alex Kilbane, Will Owen, Alex Howman, Zach Ward and Max Murphy all got in on the action, as Shay Nixon's score for Hinckley got them a bonus point. Safe to say it was a high-scoring weekend in National 2 West where we saw Clifton travel to Hinckley and win 31 points to 71. Leicester Lions maintained their lead at the top with a 40 points to 12 win over Barnstaple, and Bournville picked up the shock of the weekend by beating Redruth 52 points to 12. The table is pretty much as it was, with Leicester Lions leading the way and are now 2 points away from a century as they look to book promotion to National 1. While at the foot of the table, Bournville have leapfrogged Barnstaple in the race to avoid the drop and added plenty of intrigue as we reach the most influential point of the season.
Well, that's it from Woodlands, where there was nothing to separate the top two in National 2 North, as it was a stalemate between Fylde and Sedgley Park. The title race continues. Which way will it go? Find out on the National League Rugby Review Show. We'll see you next week.